listening to Keeping It Real with Janine, your guide to living an authentic, healthy life. I'm Janine Strong, your guide, and every 2 weeks I have a fun, inspiring conversation with an ordinary person leading an extraordinary life. Today's conversation is about the power of healing sound with Jeralyn Glass. Jeralyn Glass is an internationally known singer, professor, sound healer, and crystal bowl master. She began her career on Broadway and has performed on many of the world's leading opera and concert stages. She brings a unique presence with her personal alchemy of classical music, meditation, and high vibrational sound. Jeralyn founded Crystal Cadence, the Los Angeles Crystal Tones Singing Bowl Temple, with over 300 gemstone bowls for purchase. It's a place for song and sound healing and the sacred science of sound, crystal alchemy, sound practitioner trainings. She uses her gifts to inspire and heal, holding a place of love, embodiment, and integration. Greetings, Jeralyn. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Janine. Thank you for the invitation to be with you.
Well, I'm excited because I've watched many of your YouTube videos, and I get your emails about some of the things that you're doing, and you really have such a wonderful presence and a wonderful heart, and I just love the work that you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's start with, I always like to start with a little background so that the listeners can get to know you, and tell us how you became a crystal bowl healer.
I always laugh about that. I say that to my mom. How did an opera singer and a professor become a crystal alchemy singing bowl master?
Yes.
It's definitely not a profession that I had dreamed of when I was little. So I've been playing the bowls. I found the bowls actually when I was traveling with my mom 12 years ago. And I heard someone playing them, and it was like I had the feeling that they were playing a song that my soul knew. I can't describe it any other way. The sounds were so pristine and so complete and so exquisite, and they dropped me right into a very, very deep place that felt like my soul. And I said to my mom, "Oh, I think I've got to purchase some of these bowls." I was living in Germany at the time, where I was making a career as an opera singer and a professor, and I created a kids foundation there. So I had a very rich and full life. And so I did. I bought 7 bowls, one for each note of your chakra system, and I brought them back to Germany, and I began using them with my students, leading some little meditations, and that's how I got exposed to them.
Wow. And where did you purchase them?
They're from Crystal Tones, which is a company in Utah. And so the product is all American made, but the gemstones are coming from all over the world. And I began to try them with my singing students in Germany. And when a young person had a blockage in their vocal technique, I would ask them to choose one of the bowls, and I would ask them to hum with the bowl or tone with the bowl or play for a little bit and then sing the part of their song that they were having difficulty with. And lo and behold, the blockage went away. Oh, wow. So it was like, okay, this is my introduction to sound healing. This is my introduction to sound, and especially what I call now sacred sound, pristine, clear, high vibrational sound, to have an impact on the human system, to be able to move blocked energy that's in the body. But the first really unusual thing was as a professor, I had not at that point accompanied a young man through their voice change. And a lot of the young people I was working with, they were part of my kids foundation. And so they entered a contest, many of them that wanted to, entered a singing contest every year. And part of the singing contest was to do a 12 to 15 minute program of different styles of music, etc. And my son was in it. And at the time he was 12, and he made it to the semifinals. And a week before the second round, the semifinal round, he came in the room and he goes, "Mom, Mom, 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 Mom." something's happened to my voice.
Oh
And we
dear.
laughed so hard. It was like, this is great, Sonny. You're beginning your passage into manhood. And so he's like, Mom, what am I going to do about the contest? And I was like, let's just see. And I knew from other colleagues, like both tenors and baritones, that it is possible to sing through your voice change, and that for some boys and young men, it's not. And so I didn't know what was going to happen. So I did the same thing. I had him pick, he loved a particular bowl, which was a citrine. And the note of the citrine was at the throat. And citrine is all about your courage, your strength of will, your personal power. And so he loved especially that little bowl. And we'd play that, and he'd tone, he'd close his eyes, he'd hum. And I would lead him daily in meditations, and his voice stayed open. And he was able to do the contest just beautifully. And I'll never forget, because he was nervous, like, is my voice going to crack? Am I going to just like make a complete fool of myself? And he got up and he said, hello, my name is Dylan. And since 5 days, I am no longer a soprano. And everybody started laughing. And he just did beautifully. So that was like my first real experience with, wow, okay, what kinds of things is this sound, these sound vibrations, what kinds of things are possible, not just on the technical level as a professor of voice, but what is possible for the whole human system. Mm-hmm. And to recognize with him and with the other young people I was using the bowls with, that they had a sense of stability. They had this sense of unwavering confidence in themselves, that the crystal, the pure structure of the quartz seemed to connect somehow with their physical structure. And I began to learn that indeed the structure of the quartz is similar to our cellular structure. And so a lot of people ask me, like, well, what's the difference between the Himalayan, the Tibetan bowls, the metal bowls, or the gong, and the crystal bowls? And the metal bowls, and some of them are made like of 8 different metals, they are more about cutting through a density in someone's energetic system or in their body, where the crystal and the quartz do something that's more on a subtle level. So it's just a different kind of working with the system. And because the quartz, again, is akin to our cellular structure, it works on a deeply profound level that's different than the metal. Mm-hmm. So I always like to say that the sound vibration, it has the ability to still the thinking mind and help the mind to focus on something that's closer to your soul. I mean, and that's what I experienced that first time with my mom. It was like, whoa, this is deep. And at the same time, the mind, it becomes expanded. So you get into this meditative state, and your mind is not clamping down. It's not thinking, it's not in fight or flight. It's not panicking in any way. And so the sound helps us to lift our mind and spirit. There's more space, and we experience in a different way when we go into that state that I experience, and many people experience using the alchemy crystal bowls.
Wow. Now, do we know how this actually works? I mean, you just said that it's our cellular structure is similar to that of the crystals, but how does it, I mean, do we actually know, like, the science part of how this, there's the art, right? The art and science, but how it actually affects us physiologically, what happens in the body?
Well, it's like, Janine, when you begin to slow down your breath. So when I will begin to play or have a student play, and I guide them into a state where they're slowing down the breath, and taking deeper breaths and feeling themselves become more present in their body, it slows down the thinking mind. And so that's the whole point of meditation. And that's the state that we want to get to, because our bodies were made to survive. So as a human being, we tend to go regularly into fight or flight. Mm-hmm. And what does that mean? That means that we don't have access. We're in a kind of a panic and survival mode. And we don't have access to our true innate intelligence. We talk about that there's an intelligence of the heart and there's an intelligence of the gut. we don't have access to those places in us. We don't have access to our creativity because we're in fight or flight. We're in panic. So what the sound is technically can do is really help to slow the mind down and help to drop you, as I said in the beginning, to come into your body in a different manner, and to realize that we are not just our thinking mind. We are, as I said, there's a brain in our heart, there's a brain in our gut. We have this gut wisdom, and our heart tells us this is really the right thing to do. So there's a lot of science behind sound, and healing sound has been recorded up to, I did a crystal singing bowl symposium in Australia in 2017, and we connected with many of the Aborigines at that time. Fascinating. They have evidence that from 80,000 years ago that sound healing was used with the ancient tribes, and to mend broken bones, to bring the body back into harmony. And if you think about the body, everything in the universe has a frequency and a harmonic to it. Our body, each organ has its own frequency and vibration. And when the body gets out of balance, we say we have disharmony or dis-ease. If you can imagine like an orchestra as they tune, and as that orchestra comes into tune, and together they can play amazing pieces of music that just lift the human spirit. And it's the same with us. When our body is in harmony and balance, we can have unlimited potential. And so sound healing is an ancient modality. It was also used in ancient India. People toned and they chanted. It was used in ancient Greece. It was used by shamans in native cultures all over the world. Sound healing has been a very viable modality for thousands and thousands of years. And it's so interesting to see how it's becoming more and more a buzzword in today's culture. And the late Dr. Mitchell Gaynor used sound healing in his oncology practice in New York State. I'm working regularly with Cancer Support Community, which is a nationwide organization that offers alternative healing methods to cancer patients and their families. And so I've been leading meditations for the cancer patients about 4 years, and it's phenomenal what's happening and just how the system gets calmed and at peace. And when I'm out of fight or flight, you find the body's natural healing abilities. So I feel incredibly grateful to be a part of all of this. And as a musician, I can integrate my skills as a musician. Not that you have to be a musician to play the crystal bowls, you don't. But it's fun to be able to say, oh, wow, this note has this relation to this note. And that means, for example, if I play a C and a G or a C and an F, and I can just tell you that those make the musical interval of a fourth and a fifth. And those two intervals are extremely stabilizing to the human system. And further still, if we explore sacred geometry, the mathematical components of the intervals of a fourth and a fifth are also in sacred structures like pyramids, like Machu Picchu. So knowing that, if I use those intervals, it's amazing what people feel.
Wow.
That was a very answer.
No, that was wonderful. So, but now, like you said, when you first started, you bought a bowl for each of the chakras. Is there, like, if somebody wanted to have a crystal bowl and experiment with it and use it at home, is there like one bowl that would work, or do you have to get a bunch of them?
That's a great question. Just as in life, there is no one size fits all, and there is no one perfect note or one perfect frequency. It's the bowls. I say this and I smile at myself, but it's really true. They are unique. The company does not know that, they're not made in China. They're not made in hundreds and hundreds of, it's just, they're not like that. They're really pieces of art because they're infused with these gemstones and earth substances. So let's say I'm working with a peridot, or I'm working with a bowl that's been infused with pink tourmaline, or a bowl that's been infused with diamond or ruby or emerald. So these elements get amplified in the sound, and they do something different than another element does. And I find it so fascinating. Like it's interesting that sometimes the company has no particular notes. Let's say they don't have any C's, because they can't say we're going to create 100 C notes right now. The bowls are fired at 4,000 degrees and they're put in molds, but each one is a unique piece of art, is a unique instrument. And so sometimes there's more C's, sometimes there are more D's. It just really depends. And it's so interesting when people walk in here to have a sound healing session or to pick out bowls, they always walk out with what feels good to them. And, we start by looking at, there's over 300 bowls here at any given time.
Wow.
And they just pick what they're attracted to. They might be attracted to something pink or something blue or something orange or yellow. And then we begin to play the sounds, and they know, I like this sound or I don't. And that's really how it works. And so, for example, let's just say that you have some issues with your knees or with your hips.
Okay.
So technically, that would be chakra 1. That would be the root chakra, and that note is a C. But we might find that the person has really a broken heart, and that's the note of an F. That's the heart chakra. When we work on the F and work on the heart chakra, they might suddenly feel a rush of energy going down through their hip and through their knees, and that pain is gone. So it's really, we are a whole system, and everything in our system affects everything, right? So to just say, get yourself a C bowl, I mean, you can say that, but I think people, when they hear the different sounds, they know what they respond to. I mean, technically you can say the C note is the root. So that's a great thing for people to start with. But sometimes people will say to me, I really need to express myself more easily, so I want a throat chakra bowl. Or some people will say, I really want to see the development of my intervisionary capacity, and that would be your third eye. So sound healing it's very complex, and it's rich, and it's very individual. There really is not a one size fits all. There's no generic, at least not the way I work. And I love to work on a deep level, because the bowls have changed my life on a very deep level. I see how, with the cancer patients, I just had a session with them last Friday, and I can't tell you, Janine, I mean, everybody was moved to tears. There's been people that have been in my class, for 3 or 4 years, and there's so much safety and love present in that room. And we do certain exercises and things before I lead them into meditation. But it was phenomenal to me to recognize again on Friday, boy, I've been touched in my life as deeply as they have been in theirs. And it's a great gift. I mean, that's a service that I do. It's not a paid job, and it's so rewarding to experience. They have much less anxiety. They have much more trust in their path. And for example, we talked about, because they used to say, well, I'm a cancer survivor. And we talked to them about, you're not a cancer survivor, you're a cancer healer. And how much that empowered them to, again, and a lot of this work is based on my mentor, Dr. Sue Morter, who's a pioneer in the field of bioenergetics, that really has a lot to do with getting out of that fight or flight modus of operating in our lives and dropping into that place where true healing can take place. And that has to do what I said at the beginning with slowing down the mind, by slowing down the breath, by adding these sacred high vibrational sounds to really, because many people have trouble meditating, like my mom included. She'll say, I just can't sit still, I can't meditate. But if I play bowls for her, she can close her eyes and she goes into a deep place. So sound is a very, we talk about sound being, Edgar Cayce said sound is the medicine of the future. And we talk about sound as touching the human body where words, talk therapy, or touch, human touch or even medicines cannot go.
Mm-hmm.
The sound goes in that place that's the void, the invisible, the ineffable, whatever you want to name it. It's just like with music, you may be in a very down mood and you put on a song, you know, that cheers you up and suddenly your whole mood changes,
Mm-hmm.
put on some dance music or whatever. Music and sound have the ability to lift the human spirit like nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
And, when I discovered these crystalline sounds, as I said to you, it was like, whoa, there's something here. But, 12 years later, the more that I'm using them and this whole career path has developed, they are profound. They are profound quantum tools of shifting patterns in the human system.
Mm-hmm. How did you learn how to use them? Was it just through trial and error and experimentation, or?
Well, I think I told you when we spoke, I came to them because my son passed away. My 19-year-old son passed away 4 years ago.
Mm.
And, so he loved the bowls and he had that whole experience with them in Germany and his singing thing. So from the night he died, he began communicating with me in a very serious, recognizable way that was just could not be denied,
Mm-hmm.
with signs and all kinds of things. And I've since created a concert program that I do all over the world, sharing about those signs and singing music and playing the crystal bowls. But about 5 months in after he passed, and I was just in agony. I mean, just
Of course.
in complete anguish. It was really hard to get out of bed and find any purpose for
Mm-hmm.
life. He said to me, "Mom, call the bowl dudes." And I'm like, his name was Dylan, which means born of the sea. It was just like, son, I am grieving. Leave me alone. But it was persistent. I could hear him. Mom, call the bowl dudes. And so I did. I picked up the phone and I called Crystal Tones, and I got the owner on the phone, and I just said, I'm not even really sure what to say to you, but this is what happened. My son has passed and he loved the bowls and he had some deep experiences with the bowls, and he's telling me to call you. And that's how it began.
Wow.
And I ordered 11 bowls, and I tried to pick out gemstones, just by reading about them. I picked out things that I was attracted to. So I picked out selenite,
Mm.
which is grounded white light, and selenite can build a bridge of connection to the other side.
Mm.
I picked
Mm-hmm.
out celestite. I mean, obviously in my situation, I picked out gemstones that I thought would connect me to him in
Mm.
an even deeper way. And that is exactly what happened when I got the first set of bowls. The selenite bowl was a G sharp. So that's at the throat chakra, between the throat area and the third eye. And
Okay.
I can tell you that I started playing that bowl and I could see and sense his spirit in that room. It was
Mm.
nuts. I mean, I could see him.
Wow.
And I
Oh, I'm
started
getting chills.
I know. I mean, I always, as I said to you, I always say to my mom, here's this opera singer and professor that's, communicating with her son that's passed and playing crystal bowls. I must be so weird. And she's like, no, dear, you're not. But, I just started weeping. I started weeping and wailing as I played that bowl, and I could feel him in the room. And it was like he was guiding me to feel and process the grief in a way that I hadn't been able to.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember so distinctly just weeping and yelling and screaming and feeling like my heart was just going to explode out of my chest. And I made sounds with the bowls that I had never made before. And then I got up to go to the bathroom, and I looked at my face in the mirror, and my eyes had a light in them that I hadn't seen in months, and that I hadn't seen since his death. And
Mm.
I began to understand, okay, my boy loved those bowls, and my boy is guiding me to help myself. And of course, at that point, I didn't think about helping anybody else. I just needed to get through. The pain is so excruciating that
Mm.
you can't think. You can't, you just, and one thing led to the next, and I would do that every day. I'd play the different bowls and just allow myself to weep or scream or whatever it was came out, and I could always feel him. And then I got this idea, I'm going to call the cancer support community. I'm going to share this with other people. And that's how the whole thing began to unwrap itself. And then I began to study. So I studied with Jonathan Goldman, who's a pioneer in modern sound healing. So I started to study everything I could get my hands on with Dr. Mortar. And, being a musician, I had already had a big foundation, a basis for music and sound, but I got really passionate about the journey of how can sound really help us heal and who are the pioneers in the field. And then I began to develop my own way, guided by my son. So it's been a phenomenal journey. And I was just saying to some students last week, you can't plan this, when you're 23 years old and you're graduating from college and you go, wow, what's in front of me? What is my life going to be like? And I just said to them, life is not a straight path, and it's most important to be flexible, to be a critical thinker and a problem solver, to have these kinds of skills, because you don't know what life is we just don't know, right, Janine? We don't know. And we've got to be prepared. And, I can say to you now that there's an extreme beauty in what's happening, and this way of connecting with my son through the sound, sharing that and watching other people's lives transform. I mean, of course, as his mom, I would much rather have him here. I would much rather be able to hold him and watch him grow older and, make his life whatever that would have been. But this way is also, it's a gift, and it's fulfilling, it's joyful, it's life-changing. As I said to you on Friday, sitting with cancer patients, I thought, my goodness, they have changed my life as much as I've changed theirs. And this is the vibration of love. For me, this is love.
It's a two-way street. It's never one way when you're giving of yourself.
No, and the sound somehow really creates, people have shared all kinds of things with me about, connecting with their grandmother, or connecting with children that have passed, whatever. And not just connecting with deceased loved ones, but really feeling blockages just move. Feeling unclarity about a particular thing in life. And after a sound healing session, they're suddenly very clear, like a fog has been lifted. We use something that's called a binaural beat, which is in music when I play a half note. So let's say a black note to a white note on the piano. When I play those two notes together, they make a kind of vibration that is very oscillating. And so it's that particular thing, the binaural beat, is used in meditation music, and it's balancing the right and left brain hemisphere. So it brings clarity for people. I've worked with patients with multiple sclerosis, one cancer patient who lost the ability to regulate her body thermometer, and that got a great sense of relief from that. So it activates the sound really, again, what Edgar Casey said, sound will be the medicine of the future. It's, especially in a culture where we grab to a medicine or a pill or, whatever it is to calm us down, right? And there are so many natural ways now to find that sense of peace, and meditation and sound meditation are truly very, very important things to integrate in our lives, especially as our lives get more and more busy and faster paced.
Yes. And most people don't set aside the time. I hear all the time, I don't have time, Well,
So then I say, then put on, so that's why I made these, they're on my YouTube channel, which is Crystal Cadence. I decided to make these things called Tune Up Tuesdays, which, thank you that you listen to them. They're a different set of bowls every week, and it's just free. It's 12 minutes, and you can just close your eyes wherever you are, obviously not driving the car, but you can save those and use them before you go to bed. You can fall asleep with them.
Nice.
And even if you just give your brain that kind of nourishment as it's falling asleep, it's better than nothing.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
really begins to mean to what I notice is, and what I noticed in my students and my clients is that things that once triggered you or upset you simply don't anymore.
Mm.
So you may notice, boy, that person really riles me up. And suddenly with time, listening more and more to the sound, experiencing sound meditation, you're not triggered. You're just not triggered anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And these kind of just little things in your daily life, I've certainly noticed, and I've noticed them with my clients and students. It's super, super cool, and it's just easy. So there's definitely, those on the YouTube channel that one can listen to for free, and then there's music that I've made that's available on CD Baby that are like 25 or 30-minute meditations. They cost $2.99, and you can just download them. Also different bowls, different alchemies, different notes. So for example, the black notes on the piano, the 5 black notes are C sharp, D sharp, F sharp, G sharp, and A sharp. Those 5 notes comprise the points of the endocrine system. So they'd be working, especially with, let's say, the sexual organs, your adrenals and pancreas, your thymus, your thyroid, your parathyroid, your pituitary, your pineal. So we say that if the human system is really comprised of energy, which quantum science has proven that it is, as that energy gets compressed and becomes human form, it's turned to chemistry by the endocrine system. And that chemistry is what regulates our body's functions, right? So I'll use a lot with the cancer patients, the endocrine system. So I'll play 2 C sharps, 2 F sharps. I'll mix a whole set. And
Wow. Do you have a CD of that for those of us with thyroid, adrenal, pituitary issues?
I do. So those are available on CD Baby.
Oh, cool.
You just look for endocrine system.
Now, what is Jeralyn? What's CD Baby? I haven't heard of that before.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so CD Baby is an online platform where you can purchase a physical CD or you can just buy downloads.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So there's many artists that have their music on CD Baby, and it's a very easy and a great company. So we've recorded and uploaded some meditations that are not in CD form that you can just download. Those are the ones that are $2.99. And then there's a couple of there's 2 other albums I have on there. One was an album that I made for my son that's called Forever Love. And that has songs that you would know, like Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And they're all infused with crystal singing bowls.
Oh,
and then
there's
a beautiful meditation sort of Christmas album with Dr. Mortar leading meditations that's all infused with crystal bowls. And both of those are available. There's songs and meditations on that one. And I'm just in the process of creating a brand new album that I'm really excited about that'll come out in November. That's also infused with bowls. So it's like we're creating, Janine, that's what I'm very excited about too. We're creating this new way of listening to music. So when songs are scored with bowls, you simply feel good. You feel a kind of sense of healing. There's a vibrational frequency happening in the music that is different than regular music. And even if you're not live in the room and you're listening to it on a stereo, your headphones or whatever, you receive that. You receive that vibrational frequency, and it's really exciting. It's very, very exciting.
Well, I think that's really exciting that you don't have to be in the room with the bowls.
No, and we've seen it on the Tune Up Tuesdays, because I want to get the best quality recording we can to offer to the public. But we use a stereo microphone, and you really can feel it. And people report to us from all over the world how much those meditations are helping them. So it's really exciting. And another thing that my son guided me to do was this online series called The Sacred Science of Sound, which played in December of last year. And people were so excited about, I interviewed, in the end, I think there were 18 interviews with leading experts in the field of sound vibration, energy medicine, science and spirituality. and musicians, the healing power of music. And people love this series, and so they asked to have a live event. And so there's a live event happening November 1 through 3 in Los Angeles with some of our speakers, and I will premiere the album on one of the evening concerts.
Oh, that's
so
exciting.
If anyone is interested in coming to Los Angeles, the event is up already on Eventbrite, called The Sacred Science of Sound, in Los Angeles, November 1 through 3. So my goal is to keep presenting as much as I can the leading cutting edge information on sound vibration, healing power of music, energy medicine. Again, like what kinds of things can people do? What small daily things, as you said, I don't have time. I don't have time to meditate, or I don't, what kinds of things can people integrate in an easy way in their life that really does make a change?
Yeah, I think that's important, because even if you just can set aside a few minutes, I think people will find that will expand, because it is so powerful, and it can really change your physiology and your emotional state in such a positive way that then you want to make more room, more time to focus on something like this.
Yes, I mean, there's sound baths that are popping up all over. People are offering, sometimes they're using the white quartz bowls, which are not infused with gemstones. Sometimes people are using the Tibetan bowls or the gongs. But if you look in just about every major city now, there's some kind of sound bath or sound healing being offered, because again, people are recognizing that this is a really viable way to reduce anxiety or sleeplessness or panic attacks or depression. Whatever it is, this is a very inexpensive and natural way to help calm the brain.
Wow. So I'd like to backstep just a moment to a very practical. How are these made? You mentioned the firing temperature, but how are these actually made?
Well, I've not seen the actual factory, and the owners, I always tease with them. They're two pretty brilliant men, and they say, you have to get the golden ticket to be able to come in the factory where the Oompa Loompas work. So all that we know is really that they're made in different molds. So there's different sizes of bowls, starting from 6 inches and going up to, the alchemy ones go up to, I think, 18 inches. It's the biggest one I've ever seen. And then there's different. So I can't tell you that. I just know that they're fired at 4,000 degrees, and they're made in a mold, and they use substances from all over the world. So there's one bowl that's very popular called yagna, and yagna is made with sacred ash from puja ceremonies. So it would be the sacred ash from religious ceremonies that are held in India, or they have a quality control of their substances. There's again pink tourmaline, there's azestulite, there's apophyllite, and emerald, ruby, pink or gold. There's all these there's hundreds of possibilities, and they're always being creative and mixing them together. So when you look at the bowls, like if you look at when you see them in like the Tune Up Tuesdays, you'll see these amazing combinations, and they look like pieces of art. So that's all I can tell you.
So, well, are the gemstones, are they powdered and mixed in?
Powdered.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. So, because at first I thought maybe they were like blown, but it doesn't sound like it.
No, they're not blown. They're made in a mold.
Yeah.
They're really, they say, the highest quality of sonic crystalline tools on the planet. They've started to also make these little pyramids, which are that has a really cool sound. It's a crystal pyramid that a lot of people are using. So it's, again, this power of crystal is a little different. The body absorbs it differently than it does the metal. And I know for myself personally now, like I can't sit comfortably in a gong bath. It's too much for my system. And a lot of people tell me that. And for others, the gongs are just, they love them. So it's really finding what you asked me at the beginning also, like it's definitely not a one size fits all. It's finding what sounds feel good to your system, what notes feel good to your system. And there's, people can go to live events in their cities for sure. And otherwise on the internet, there's many different things and many different kinds of sound healings. The Tune-Up Tuesdays were made really for people to be able to experience all different alchemies and all different combination of notes and frequencies from the crystal tones bowls.
Well, that's great because I was going to ask, how can somebody choose something? Like, would you do it maybe over the internet and help somebody
Yeah.
choose sounds or choose their
Oh,
bowls?
yes, I was just consulting with a client in Taiwan this morning, so she's getting 3 bowls sent to her. She's a repeat client. So I have clients all over the world, and with today's technology, it's amazing. I mean, we just have to watch the time zones. So like this morning, she was like, "It's 1 a.m. I have to go to bed." I was like, "Okay." So yeah, with our technology, you can either FaceTime or I can set up a Zoom call with people. I have clients in Sweden and in France and Canada and South America. It's all over, and you can hear the bowls well enough, and you can see them obviously when we're FaceTiming, to really feel, do I like that or I don't like that? Otherwise, I make people short little videos so they can see the bowls, hear how they sing together. So for example, like if I'm playing, like I said earlier, like a C and an F and a G, they play, depending on the tunings and everything, they play beautifully together. So certain bowls, like if you play them together, they really resonate. Again, it's just like us. Why do we harmonize with a certain person and not as well with another person? It's truly the same with the bowls.
That's a good analogy.
It's really true. I mean, because and then the second part of that is what I really began to learn. I play in Thailand every year at a wonderful wellness sanctuary called Malaya. It's just a beautiful, very quiet, spiritual, renewing place. There's a big wellness sanctuary and a Chinese medicine as part of their wellness. And then I offer concerts and meditations, and then I do private sessions there. And it's a fantastic place for healing. And of course, when I travel there, I brought this one year in 2017, I brought 8 bowls. And I did over almost 40 sessions with the 8 bowls. And I was blown away that those bowls played differently depending who was on the table. And not only that, people came back for 3, 4, 5, and 6 sessions, and those bowls played differently at each session.
Oh, wow.
It was mind-blowing. I'd never had a control set like that, in an environment like that. And it really was true. Like, so sometimes if somebody was working on, one young man had lost his mom, and then he was also working on something about a new job, and the bowls, when he was working on the issues about grieving his mom, the bowls reacted in a certain way. And when he was working on the issues about his new job and where he should go, and if he should let that job go, etc., the bowls played differently. And that was the first time that I realized, wow, they really respond to our systems. They're really tools. They're tools of healing.
Now, Jeralyn, how do you play them?
You play them I play them with a suede wand. So it's made of suede and rubber. You can see it again if you watch the Tune-Up Tuesdays. You can see it. And some people play with a silicone wand, which you don't hear the scraping as much. But I personally, as a musician, I love to hear the scraping because I love to hear that it's really a live instrument with its own vibration, and it's not a synthesizer. So I like that. And then some of the bigger bowls you can tap with like a little mallet that has a rubber, like a rounded rubber ball on it. But I'm using the suede wand.
So I imagine these aren't like super delicate.
I mean, they're crystals, so you just have to be very careful. I mean, careful when you pack them, careful when you handle them, because they will break. And I had a situation recently where somebody knocked one of my bowls off the table with their yoga mat, and I mean, it crashed in 100 pieces. That was the end of it. Sometimes a bowl, people will tell me like that, say they've set their case down and they set it down too hard, so the bottom of the bowl, it cracks. Sometimes the bowls can be repaired. If it's 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces, they can be fused back together. And then this is a very special bowl that's called a Morph. And I have one client she's wonderful. She's playing all over, really making a great success, and especially working with people that are struggling with sobriety issues and addiction. And one of her bowls, she set the bag down and it broke, and we were able to fix it. And it has such a sound now, just like when we do, when we get a broken heart and something feels broken inside of us and it heals, we have more depth. And it's the same with the bowls. It's amazing. But so these morph bowls are very interesting. And do you notice a different sound? No, it's not that you do, but there's a depth in them. It's so, all of it is so fascinating.
I'm really interested in this. I think it's very fascinating. In fact, it just struck me that something like this would be, I would think, wonderful for hospice.
Yes, I've been working with hospice patients. As a matter of fact, I've accompanied a few people at the end of their lives. And it's, for example, there's a particular bowl called phenakite, and it's a stone. It's a really high vibrational stone, and we call that substance portals of light. And so that's the bowl that I played with a particular person when they were crossing. I played that bowl, and it was an amazing experience to have him in the last, days of his life, to have him experience this. It's like this greeting from heaven. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to put it in words, but this high vibration, we are made of sound, vibration, and light. We are really energy compressed in human form. And, at the tiniest particle, we're energy, we're sound vibration. Everything has a vibration. The universe has a vibration. The planets have a vibration. And to play that high frequency bowl as someone's crossing over was really an amazing experience.
That everyone could pass that way.
Yeah. I mean,
what a gift.
We don't like to think about it, but we all come in and we all go out.
All go.
I mean, that's part of it, right? It's part of the human experience.
The two things we can actually count on.
Yeah.
Well, now you offered to play the bowls for us, and would you like to do that now?
Yes.
So everyone, I would suggest obviously not doing this when you're driving, but if you're home, home, maybe find a place to sit or lie down and close your eyes and enjoy this beautiful healing sound.
We are focusing on kindness, the vibrational frequency of kindness. And I love this quote: do your little bit of good wherever you are. It's those little bits of good all put together that overwhelm the world. That was said by the Nobel Prize winner, Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Take some long, deep cleansing breaths. And when we slow our breath down, we slow down our thinking mind. And allow yourself to be filled with the beautiful sounds of these crystal alchemy singing bowls, sonic tools of peace.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Jeralyn, that was beautiful. I really am glad that we've been able to give the listeners a little experience of what it's like to be surrounded by this sound. And I would suggest that people listen to it over and over. And of course, they can go to CD Baby. You had mentioned that. And what was it? Tune Up Tuesdays on YouTube. So I guess you just type in Tune Up Tuesday and you're
On my YouTube channel, which did I send you the link? Unfortunately, it has a funny link, but it's I can send you that link to it's Crystal Cadence is the YouTube channel.
okay. Yep. And I always put links on the podcast website and everything too for people.
Yeah, I can. I can't do it when we're talking, but I can send it after.
Yep, that'd be great.
It's in all the newsletters. We have it in the newsletters. You get my newsletters, right?
Yes, I do. So if people want to get your newsletter, what do they do?
Oh, that's good. Yeah, they just go to JeralynGlass.com, and you can let them know that they get, because that would be great to have some new people on the newsletter. They get 2 free downloads. There's 2 beautiful songs that they download for free, and then they'll be on the mailing list.
Great. Okay. And I will put
that would be good to let them know. And then it would be good to let them have the link for the Sacred Science of Sound. So let me get you that.
Yes, I listened to most of it. It was great. Okay, great. So yes, so on the podcast webpage for our conversation, there will be lots of great links for you to connect up with Jeralyn and to experience more of her amazing healing work. I'm inspired to maybe get some crystal bowls myself.
I would love to consult you. That's easy.
Great. Well, we'll discuss that later. I would love that. Well, this has been wonderful. Is there anything that you'd like to share that you haven't yet before we wrap up?
I think that when I was struggling with loss, that I've come to learn that with sound, you are never alone, and that there is a way that, for me, this crystalline sound embraced me and held me and gave me a safe container to really feel what I was feeling without pushing it away, but to really feel it and to feel safe with the depth of those feelings and then to transform it. So I think I would love for people to know that, they're not alone, and everybody's struggling with, things that are big. They're just big, and you tend to feel alone or lost, and, you just put on a sound meditation. That's, again, part of the reason why I made the Tune Up Tuesday, and allow yourself to really still that thinking mind and drop into, your heart, to drop into your soul, to drop into the place inside yourself that has a deeper knowledge, a deeper wisdom that sees a bigger overview than just our mind can see. And that you're really not alone. And sound can always be a friend that holds you. Yeah.
And loss it's a part of the human experience, whether it's loss of a loved one, loss of a relationship, or loss of a job, loss of a pet. It's at some point we all experience loss in one form or another, and having something to help us move through it and grow and evolve through it like this is really a gift.
Yeah, because, it's easy enough to push it away with all the distractions we have in our modern life, right? But it will disappear for a period of time, but you will never get to the root of it. And I think my son understood by saying to me, "Mom, call the bowl dudes." I think he understood that sound being my medicine and my life's professional work, that would be a medium that I could understand. But you don't have to be a musician, again, to experience how sound embraces you and holds you and, helps you feel and then release, because that's the important part, that we also can release, and not hold on, and one can forgive, and one can grow, and one comes into a deeper understanding of what love really is, and a deeper physical sensation of love, the embodiment of love, because after all, that is the universal solvent. Love is it, and it's getting to that point. And there's stuff that, takes us off every day, for sure, everybody. And it's, whether you're driving the car or whatever it is, that you can just find that place where you slow your breath down, you feel your breath drop deep in your body, and you begin to feel a different vibration. And the sound, especially these high frequency instruments, they really help you to find that place. And it begins to change your whole system. And I see it with myself and everyone around me. So that there are ways for people to find relief and find a place of trust and a realization that no matter, we are not alone. We're not in this alone, although sometimes it can feel like something is just so huge.
That's true. Now, if somebody wanted to have you help them choose a bowl or some bowls, would they go to your website, or is there a better way to connect with you?
We're just rebuilding the website because everything is really beginning to expand exponentially. So we're rebuilding the website that there's going to be this is for you, that there's going to be a calendar on it that they can just book their appointment with me. Okay. Right now, they write me an email or send me a text message. And then I make an appointment with them, and then we do a video conversation, whether it's FaceTime, depending on their phone, or Skype, or I send them a Zoom invitation. And then we spend, depending on the person, we spend anywhere from a half an hour to an hour in consultation. And then they choose their bowls, and they send me a payment, and the bowls are shipped. So it's an easy and it's a beautiful process for people.
And what is your email for people?
info@crystalcadence.com. I can write you all that.
Okay. Yep. We'll have that on the website too.
Well, that'd be great.
Oh, Jeralyn, thank you so much. I know you're extremely busy, and I really appreciate your taking an hour out of your time to do this. But I really wanted to share what you do with people. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm just glad you had the patience with me. So I was like, oh. So I think all good. We got it. We did it.
Yeah, we did. Oh, great. Well, thank you so much. I look forward to experiencing more of your healing work.
You're most welcome.
Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening, and thank you so much, Jeralyn Glass, for sharing your uplifting love of music, sound, and healing. The podcast website is realjanine.com, where you can listen to and download episodes. Please sign up for the I'll do that again. Please sign up for the podcast bi-weekly blog newsletter to keep up on new episodes, archives, life updates, and healthy recipes. And remember, Janine is Janeean. To subscribe to Keeping It Real with Janine, go to iTunes or your favorite podcast provider. You can find the podcast YouTube channel by searching Real Janine if you prefer video slideshows of my conversations. Please go to YouTube and subscribe. Do you know someone who would benefit from my conversation with Jeralyn? Of course. Please share her love of music, sound, and healing. Take care and be well.
Things will come out right now. We can make it so.